Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Mono. Today we're going to review patch update 1.04. This one happened just a few days ago. Um, I really like kind of doing these videos. I think that they're pretty cool. Like I said in the last one, any comments, any tips, anything that can help me put a better product out, please let me know. I'd greatly appreciate it. So, 11 gigs, whatever. That's cool. A lot of this I haven't played with, but some of it I have. But a lot of it is more just like gonna be my reaction to it and see, I think this will do this and I think that'll do that kind of a thing. Some multiplayer, playlist upgrades, gun game, cool. Doesn't necessarily affect competitive. That's more what I'm here for. Mercenary death patch, blah 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 blah. Assault rifles. We're dealing back some previous buffs to assault rifles to help close the gap in effectiveness between ARs and SMGs, allowing SMGs to be more effective at firing on them. That sounds great to me. That's, going back to the beta, I thought that was a big thing that needed to be changed in this, was that SMGs were almost useless. You see the SOG a lot, and like some people rock the Spitfire in crazy close situations. Other than that, don't really see much subs, even in pubs, which is disappointing. So slight reduction to ADS move speed for all assault rifles. I mean, yeah, that's probably a decent fix. It'll help people from sprinting out as an AR and just gunning your sub. A slight reduction to ADS in transition speed for all assault rifles. Same kind of deal. I think that's probably a move in the right direction. I think ARs were definitely the better group, which, I mean, it's fine. It's fine to have like a superior group, but you don't want to have it so high and above that you run on 4 or 5 ARs on the map. Alright, so then we get to the guns. We got the ICR, reduced headshot damage, and slight reduction to reload speed. I have felt the difference in the reload speed. It's not a huge difference, but it's definitely enough to slow you down, which, I mean, what they said here makes sense. That seems to be kind of where they were going with these. The Vapor, reduced close range headshot damage. Damage now falls off sooner. High caliber headshot multiplier, eliminating the possible. Okay. High caliber, never going to affect competitive. Damage falls off sooner. That's important. The Vapor was pretty good. I think if the ICR didn't exist, we would have saw a lot more Vapors. Since the ICR does exist, almost no Vapors. There was a lot at the start, but now that we've been playing for a little bit, it seems a lot of Maddox, a lot of ICRs. So this doesn't necessarily affect competitive because I don't think we were seeing much of it anyways. But who knows? Submachine guns. Mobility is the primary strength of SMGs. Speeding across the map to engage, disengage quickly. So yeah. It looks like they just wanted to balance SMGs to be at a level similar to ARs. So the MX9, extended damage, all ranges. I think that's a good buff. I think that was the biggest issue I had in pubs using the MX9 even, is that as a gun that shoots fairly straight, like you want to be rewarded for hitting shots, and so I felt like the damage fall off was very high, and it didn't necessarily make sense to me. So I think that's a good fix. Might make the MX9 more viable in pubs. I haven't seen any in competitive, but there might be some situations where it's usable. The Cordite, extend all damage ranges. The operator mod doesn't really affect us because it's banned. So once again, same thing with the Cordite. Had a lot of issue with the damage. So if this makes it, I don't know how much better. It would have to make the Cordite fairly better for it to be relevant, because I didn't think it was very good. But this could be a cool one. This could be a good increase for that gun. See some more diversity in the game. GKS, this operator mod doesn't matter. I think the GKS is pretty good, and we might see some people using that in comp. SOG, once again, operator mod doesn't affect us. The SOG probably didn't need any tuning in terms of like damage or ranges or mobility or anything like that. SOG is pretty good. Definitely fit a role. Tactical rifles buffed the ABR to be more competitive with the others. Good, because the ABR was pretty trash in comparison to both the Swordfish and the Auger. So they extended the maximum damage range. Operating mod doesn't matter. Stock, laser sight. Okay, so laser sights, most people wouldn't be using those. Stock would definitely be used with the ABR. I think that's a good change. Is it enough to push it into the rotation? Probably not. But I think it's a good change. And that's all you can ask for this early into the game is good changes. We got Swordfish, high caliber, doesn't affect us. Pentaburst, that's an operator mod, doesn't affect us. Sniper rifles needed help to fight King Paladin. Absolutely, the Paladin is infinitely better than the other 4 or whatever. How many? Removing turn sway when aiming down sights on sniper rifles to ensure the weapon rifles. Okay, so that's cool. That was something I was seeing a lot. Is moving quickly and aiming down sight. It didn't seem like you were lining up correctly. That's a good fix. That's just simple balancing, good recognition. Paladin, high caliber doesn't affect this. FMJ2, increased damage against score streaks. That's probably a good thing. I don't think people will use that in comp, but we'll see. Stabilizer 2, players can now hold breath sooner after the previous hold. That's a good change. I like to use Stabilizer 1 and 2. And so Stabilizer 2 just lets you hold your breath longer, but it didn't affect the time. So I think that's a good change. Like I said, I think the Paladin was pretty good and you didn't necessarily need changes. But an attachment change on it's pretty good. Outlaw, improved base damage from 110 to 130. I mean, it's still not a one-hit kill unless you hit him in like the upper chest. We'll see. Snipers are pretty useless to me if they're not going to one-hit people in the majority of their body. Reduced idle sway, that's a good change. Increased beast movement speed, that's a good change. Stock, slight increase in ADS movement speed bonus. Okay, so these are all good changes. I like all 3 of these. I don't think this is enough to get it into competitive though. But these 3 alone, super great. If they up that and you can actually one-shot people, that'd be super helpful. SDM is basically an M21, so increased clip size, super. Yeah, you spam that thing, so it makes sense. Kashka, improved damage from 120 to 140, slight increase in ADS movement speed. Okay, so this, like, once again, I don't know if there's sniper multipliers in this game. In previous CODs, there used to be a headshot multiplier, a upper chest multiplier, like a stomach multiplier, and then like a lower torso legs kind of multiplier. And so, if there is, this is a good change because almost all of those will have a 1 point something multiplier except for the legs, meaning that this will one shot. But I don't know the details on that. Stock, slight increase in ADS movement speed bonus. That's good. You always like stock being efficient is always a good thing. LMGs, none of this affects competitive because they're all banned. But we'll go over it anyways. The Titan reduced headshot damage, reduced hipfire accuracy, reduced ADS movement speed. So that's probably a good thing with an LMG. You want minimal movement speed even with stock. Reduced hipfire accuracy, fine. Reduced headshot damage. Headshot damage in this game is weird, and I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the way it is, but that's fine. The VKM, this gun was broken in pubs up until this update. Reduced movement speed while firing, reduced damage slightly, and then the operator mod, who cares? Probably good changes. You'd get 2 shot by this gun in pubs. I think it did like 75 damage a shot. It's crazy. Hades, you know, same stuff. Like I said, the LMGs don't really affect us, so that's fine. Pistols, slight reduction to ADS and transition speed. Okay. Garrison, slight increase to time between bursts, slight reduction to reload speed. So this is a nerf, and this is a buff, so it's like, but it evens out. However, I don't think the Garrison's good enough to even be used really right now. I think you'll see more Strifes and more Mozus for sure. Shotguns are all banned, so we're just gonna skip this section because none of this is gonna affect us. Attachments, Grip 2, reduced ADS flinch mitigation. That's a good thing. I like the one issue with Grip 2 was that there was no flinch, and that's just not really cool. Now that there's flinch, Grip 2 seems more balanced. It's still OP probably, but it is what it is. Suppressor, reduced damage fall off ranges. That's probably a good thing. Nobody uses suppressors in comp anyways, but whatever. Holographic sight, reduced ADS recoil. Dual zoom optic, reduced ADS recoil. Recon optic, reduced ADS recoil. None of these will really affect competitive, but those are all buffs, so that's cool. Elo optic, slightly increased ADS recoil. I feel it sometimes. I'm not a Maddox player, but I've been using the Maddox occasionally, and I can definitely feel an increase in the recoil. It might be worth it to use reflex on the Maddox now. Not sure. Whatever. It's not a huge deal. Pretty personal preference in my opinion. Specialist. Now back in the day, this wouldn't have been very competitive, and I would have just skipped this part. But this is right up our alley nowadays. So we got Ajax. We're providing more strategic options to counteract the shield, and that it isn't activated too often. So explosives now apply partial damage to the front of a deployed ballistic shield user. That's great. That shield's OP. I don't care what anyone says. Anything to cut it down a little bit earlier is great. And then the shield now takes longer to earn. Awesome. That's fine. I still think it's OP, but these things will help it at least. Nomad. These are banned. K9's broken. We're just going to skip it. Crash. We're happy that our support specialist is so popular. He was a bit too effective as a score streak farmer. So this only affects his R1, which is his little ammo pack thing. So instead of throwing it down and everyone picking it up and getting a free 200 points or 250 points, now you only get a free 100. So that's probably a fair balance. I'm totally okay with that. Firebreak Purifier has been restored to its former glory. Increased Purifier flame damage to be a guaranteed eventual kill against a player who doesn't have tac mask equipped. Okay. Flamethrowers should be pretty broken. So, given the range and stuff, I think that's probably a good change. Recon. Intelligence wins wars, and Recon is living proof of intelligence. How Recon's intelligence is too good, so we're reclassifying some of his sources. So the reduce the sensor dart duration, great. Doesn't affect competitive. Shit's pretty good in pubs though and stuff, so that's fine. Resolved an issue with the voiceover would incorrectly state that the player's sensor dart was destroyed. Okay, none of this really affects comp, given that sensor darts are banned. Torque. Many in the community have embraced Torque with inventive playstyles, though he's still struggling on a broader scale. We bolstered the effectiveness of his barricade to ensure he stays relevant in team compositions. Alright, so this is questionable. A lot of people are GAing these, but if you are playing it, you now get the barricade faster, and the barricade is stronger. Questionable. Not a huge fan. In pubs, fine. Makes sense. In competitive, that could be a big breaking point. We'll see. That's kind of irrelevant. Prophet's Tempest needs an upgrade to stand a chance. So it increased the Tempest projectile speed. I've been using Tempest in pubs a lot today, and it is definitely better than it was a couple days ago. Slightly increased Tempest chain distance. I've noticed both of these. It definitely got a buff. It's probably usable now. Resolved an issue where being hit by an explosive charge would disable the Tempest charge, preventing further arcing. Okay, that's fine. That's a good change. Needs to be fixed. Spawns, TDM, skipping it, doesn't matter. Domination, skipping it, doesn't matter. Hardpoint, tune spawn logic, tuning around how the active hardpoint affects nearby spawns. This should provide more predictable spawns when battling over an active hardpoint. Additional global spawn adjustments to improve the ability for a player to anchor a location for their team's respawn to an active hardpoint. Alright, this is super important because I'm the anchor player for my team. Makes my life a lot easier. I have noticed it. It's still very touchy compared to other games, but if I'm in the general vicinity, I still get spawns instead of having to stay in one spot the whole time. So this is a good change. I'm pretty happy with it. Free for all doesn't affect us. Control, spawn adjustments made for Slum, Summit, Militia, and Firing Range. None of those are competitive maps. Doesn't matter. Gear. Stim Shot. This is a big one. Really like this. I've been playing a lot. Really like the change it made. The time to like the pace of the game is slightly slower now, and like I like that. It was a little cracked out for me. Alright, so your increased time to fully heal the player. It's great. Armor, result in armor, whatever. I don't care about armor. Acoustic sensor, that's banned. So yeah, stim shot, the only big change. I think it's big enough that it might make people run armor. Just a little bit. At least in like certain situations. Perks, reduce player movement, volume, and distance that player equipped with dead silence can be heard by enemies. The intention for dead silence is not to be completely silent, but also not allow enemies to hear your movement for long distances. This is a great change. I've been playing a little bit. You can still sound whore people, but you gotta be next to them to sound whore them. They're not. You can't hear them across the map anymore. So that's a good change. Engineer, extraction helicopter, and heist no longer. All right, that's fine. Mantis, that's banned. Dart, increased explosive radius and damage. Alright, that's probably a good change. I hope darts get banned, but they were pretty weak. Let's see, this might be... Silent Plant should now make planting and diffusing completely silent. That's awesome. Other than that, that looks like all of our competitive changes. There's some zombies and blah, 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 blah. But that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Feel free, like I said, like, favorite, comment, give me some feedback. I'm not sure. I've only done a couple of these videos like this. Maybe you don't like what I'm doing. That's fine. Any feedback would be great. But thanks for watching, guys. See you later. Peace.